The new part for multiplying is a monomial times a polynomial. Well, actually, even this, it's only slightly new. And the only new part for this is that now you know how to deal with exponents. So let's just go through some examples, and then we'll go back and we'll fill in those steps. First one, 4x times x plus 8. You need to take what's outside the parentheses. Whatever is outside the parentheses but touching it, it's actually multiplying everything on the inside. So that's 4x times x. I'm going to write it separated this time just so that the powers are going to work easier. 4x times 8. In the first term, there's only one number 4, so there's nothing for it to multiply. But then there's x times x. Their powers are going to add together to make x squared. In the second term, there is a 4 and there is an 8. Those two will multiply together, and x has nothing to multiply. You can see that this is kind of different from what we've done in the past because, and you should even know the name of this thing, that there is 4x squared and there is plus 32x. These two things do not have like terms, so these are binomials. Whenever we multiplied a binomial by a monomial, it made a binomial. If you remember yesterday's lesson, binomial just means that there are two terms and they have unlike terms. No big deal. But let's go ahead and add in one more thing, because if you were looking at yesterday's worksheet, there was this word in there. So this is a binomial of degree 2. The degree of a polynomial it's the highest power on a single term. The degree of a polynomial is the highest power of a single term. Let me just write that at the top here. Okay, so it's the highest powered variable. The degree of a polynomial is the highest powered variable of a single term. Out of these two things here, we have 4x squared and we have 32x. X squared is higher than the x on the other term. Because that's a power of 2, that means that it's also a degree of 2. It'll make more sense after we go through a few more examples, but I just wanted you to know a degree is the highest power. There is more to it, but I'll tell you that whenever it comes up. Example 2, we have a single number on the outside and lots of things on the inside. This number touching the parentheses means we are multiplying. This 2 is multiplying x squared. The 2 is multiplying 4x. 2 times 4x plus 2 times 3. Let's simplify. Since it was just the number 2 outside, that means we just doubled everything that was on the inside of that parentheses. This has 3 terms that have unlike terms, so this is called a trinomial. And the highest power is 2, so it's of degree 2. Trinomial with a degree of 2. Let's do another. We have 3x squared on the outside. It's going to multiply each piece on the inside. So that's 3x squared times 4x. And then we have a minus sign, so let's copy that sign over here on the right. Minus 3x squared times 2. Combine the like terms. 3 times 4 makes 12. X squared times x is x cubed. 3 times 2 makes 6. And there is nothing to change the x squared. This is a binomial because it has 2 terms. And the highest power is 3, so it's of degree 3. This last example, I'm going to do it just a little bit different. I'm just going to skip this first step and go straight to the second step. If you're pretty comfortable with multiplying, skipping the first step shouldn't be that bad, just as long as you think about it. We have negative 2x squared on the outside, and it's going to multiply 4x cubed. A negative 2 times 4 makes negative 8. X squared times x cubed makes x to the 5th. Then negative 2x squared is multiplying the second piece. Negative 2 times 8 is a negative 16. X squared times x is x cubed. Then we have a negative 2 x squared times 2. It's going to make a minus. 2 times 2 makes 4, x squared. Here we have the highest power, which is 5. We have 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. Okay, so by now you've noticed that I've always written the binomial, trinomial part first, and then of degree 5. Another way that this could also be written is a 5th degree trinomial. That would be a just fine way to explain the same thing. This one up here could be a 3rd degree binomial, 2nd degree trinomial, 2nd degree binomial. You should be able to identify these things, but it's not going to be the most important part of the lesson to know the degrees of it. The most important part is to know that you're going to have to distribute. So let's go and talk about those steps. Step 1 was distribute. After you distribute, then you multiplied. Final step is to combine like terms. And I never told you this in the last videos, but whenever you're writing the final answer, your final answer needs to starts from the highest power and goes lower until there are no more powers. The lowest term is also the last term. So the term that has no variables has to go last. Like this number 6. The normal way to write that, 2x squared plus 8x plus 6, is exactly how I have it. I have the highest power first, and then 1 power less, and then no power on the last term. While yes, it would be equivalent, it would be the same exact thing to write 6 plus 2x squared plus 8x. That's just not how most people are going to... That's not how scientists and mathematicians have decided is the standard way. So let's not write it that way. The standard way that you will be asked to write these things in is from highest power to lowest power.